just stabbing into my leg, so.
You want to put it in my bag?
No. Hello, friend. I got my bags. I'm good.
I just realized.
You didn't put your oil in?
We didn't look yet.
How did I know that?
I was like, oh, here we go.
Check it. See how much you have.
Probably second oil.
I almost asked, and then those people were right on us, so I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go, and then totally forgot.
It looks like there's something at the bottom. You got a light on?
I think he will.
We're close now. We're gonna go back now.
Yeah. We'll go back a little different way just to. What? Rob's good. He's like, let's just go to Slickers. F*** it. Baller day. Oh, I see you took your tether back off. Unfortunately, I missed a lot of you guys at the Snowmobile drag races last weekend. Wish it had stayed on the day it was supposed to be, but you know, unfortunately sometimes stuff like that's just out of my control and it didn't work out the way I wanted it to, but still had fun with Josh. Still got some cool footage from that you guys can expect if you haven't already seen it. It should be coming along pretty soon.
Up to the line now is the 2020 Tower. Up next to the line is
Other than that, not too much new. Early season type stuff. Happy to be out here riding. Get some miles on the sled, get it a little more dialed in. Can't wait to get together with all the crew and be able to, you know, make the videos even more exciting. We got a new 2020 Assault 850 with the full send crew, a new 2020 XRS Renegade 850 with their crew as well. Coda's got his SKS 850. Whenever we ride together, it'll be interesting to kind of see what the top speed's actually like on that sled. Obviously, that's not what it's meant for, but just kind of, I'm very interested to see what it's actually like. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the 2021 Arcticats that came out. Biggest interesting thing there is obviously the Blast, kind of a new mid-size sled. As somebody whose girlfriend is kind of working her way into the sport, it's a cool concept, something I would entertain, but you know, I also kind of like the idea of a full-size sled just with a smaller engine, like something like a Snow Pro 500. So, you know, kind of unsure what direction I would actually go and, you know, when that'll actually happen, but cool to see something like the Blast come to market, because I know there's and I've said this in my in comments before, a lot of people do not want to screw around with an old fan-cooled carb sled. I know there's a lot of people that do, and there's huge value to be had if you're the type of person that can work on one, you know what I mean? You can really get a bargain on a sled and keep it running for a long time, but a lot of people, especially up here, they don't want to screw with it. They got a lot of money invested in camps, in trailers, in their sleds. They want their kid out on the trails with them, and they don't want to have to, you know, get that sled worked on, because it's like my personal Polaris Skidoo dealer says, some people, a lot of his customers don't even know how to change spark plugs. So to expect them to be able to work on jetting and, you know, problem solve things on older sleds, just it doesn't happen. You know, the Evo is a good step in that direction, but Arcticat saw that, you know, that is a kind of a reworked pro ride chassis, and they could kind of bring something that is actually essentially that mini size sled. And on top of that, I think what they did with the mountain version of it is huge. I think that'll be very popular for people in the mountains. The Evo RMK is close, but it's like Chris Brandt says, they kind of built it low to appease, you know, the beginner rider. But it does, I think, in my opinion, suffer a little bit in usability as such. Oh my god, there's some big ass rocks. It does kind of suffer in usability as a result of being lower. You know, he already put different shocks on it and did like a skid drop type thing, so. Arctic having the Alpha Rail in a kid's sled, I think, will be, you know, a really good way to get your kids started in the mountains. Other than that, you know, the ride's got some really cool colors this year. My one kind of gripe with it last year was I liked both color options, but they didn't really like scream anything new and kind of different. You know, a gray and black, cool, nice, steady, pleased a lot of people color, and the lime, everybody saw it when they introduced it, and it has, even though it's a lime, that greenish Arctic Cat vibe, which is good. I think it's, you know, there's no question you know what brand it is, but nothing like color-wise that really stood out. This year they have the orange option and another version of a gray, so I think those are some cool options, and if I was ordering one, I would probably try to get that orange, but the sled hasn't really changed at all. The big news is the Riot X having the Alpha skid in it, and I think that'll be a really cool sled, as I already talked about in my other video. If you haven't watched that yet, definitely check it out. I think it's really, I've had this conversation with people, and if you watched my last video, you'll have heard my dad and I talk about it. What Arctic Cat did was, in my opinion, it was kind of smart. You know, they took a brand that no one was talking about anymore. You know, when their last 800 got released, the 800 C-Tech, I remember in my video I was talking about the SKS 146, and I was not talking about that engine. I had kind of forgotten about it. It had that mid-season release. It hadn't really created a ton of buzz. Now people are talking about Arctic Cat left and right, good, bad, indifferent. It got Arctic Cat back into people's mouths, and you know, I think that's a good thing. I think to have Arctic Cat on people's radar is, combined with the fact that they have some really competitive pricing right now. If you added something like a 2-year warranty to those sleds, it would be money, in my opinion. It would be absolute money, and I think that that's the last little step they need. As somebody who got, you know, a new Riot, I didn't love the fact that I only have a 1-year warranty. I feel like if you are ordering a sled, you should, you're taking that step to say, I support this brand, it's spring, and I'm ready to have my sled in the fall, and your sled should have a 2-year warranty. That's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with me, but that's how I feel about it, and I think it should be the new minimum in the sport. If you buy in season, yeah, one year warranty is fine. You know, you're somebody who's probably picking up rebates. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think when you take that extra step, the manufacturer should meet you somewhere in the middle with at least a 2-year warranty. You got Polaris and Skidoo coming with a 4-year warranty now. It's just time for Arctic Cat to have something else, you know. I think if you're snow checking, a 2-year warranty is what they should do. But those are my main thoughts. You know, the ZR 8000 RR. The RRs are unchanged. The XC has a new rear skid. I don't know anyone that's ridden one yet, so I don't know much about it, but kind of cool to know that they're still putting time into that. Unfortunately, it didn't meet the minimum build requirements to be actually used on the cross-country circuit, so they actually can't run it in the stock class, but I heard in, you know, the mod class and whatnot, the thing is crushing it, so cool to see that Arctic Cat is still competitive. But yeah, you know, this is not any sort of brand bias, you know. When I had the 6000 RR, dude, I didn't think much of Arctic Cat, and I hate to say that, but it just wasn't a brand I thought a lot about. I thought about the Alpha 1 because it was something cool, but other than that, you really wouldn't hear me talking too much about them, and here I am kind of following everything they're doing pretty closely, so I think that's good. And I've had a lot of you guys talk to me about them and say how you contemplated getting an Arctic Cat, and yeah, so just glad to see them getting to a better place.